You ever have a moment where you know exactly how to do your job?
Like you could do it in your sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could teach a master class on it,
Mm-hmm.
but then you sit down at your desk and nothing happens.
Right. You hit a wall.
Yeah, it's like the engine is in perfect condition, but the battery is just completely dead. You stare at the screen,
Yeah.
and the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it, it just feels like a 10-mile canyon.
And, the terrifying part is what happens next in your own head, especially when you have a long, documented track record of success.
Right.
When that internal engine just refuses to turn over, you start looking for all sorts of profound existential or even medical reasons for why you are suddenly paralyzed. You convince yourself there has to be a catastrophic failure somewhere deep in the system.
But what if it isn't biological? What if you haven't lost your edge, but you have simply, well, run out of the oxygen of production?
That is the big question.
Welcome to today's deep dive.
Yeah.
We are looking at a really fascinating, honestly, incredibly raw 28-minute recorded coaching call.
It is a phenomenal case study.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's between a veteran business coach named Scott and a 60-year-old real estate agent named Justin, who is trying to rebuild his life and his business entirely from scratch.
Literally from the ground up.
Yeah. And our mission for you on this deep dive is to extract a universal, step-by-step blueprint for regaining lost momentum from their conversation. Because no matter what your age is or what specific profession you are in, waiting around for inspiration to strike, it's a trap.
A massive trap.
So today we're going to break down why action is the actual only reliable cure for a lack of motivation.
To really grasp the weight of this coaching call, you have to understand Justin's context, though. He is 60 years old, and he tends to view his life in these distinct 20-year chapters.
Right.
So for a solid 20 years, he was a highly successful specialized mechanic. Then he pivots into real estate for the next 2 decades and builds an incredibly lucrative life. He wasn't just scraping by, either. At his absolute peak, he closed 43 homes in a single year.
And to put that in perspective for anyone listening who isn't in real estate, closing 43 homes as a solo agent, that requires a massive, relentless operational machine.
It takes immense drive.
It really does. But then the bottom completely fell out. Justin went through a devastating life upheaval. He lost his financial security, was forced to sell his own home.
He lost his mother, too.
Yeah, he lost his mother. And the stress from all that was so profound that his body essentially just shut down on him.
Yeah.
Now, he's sitting on this coaching call feeling like that legendary drive is completely permanently gone. He's actually questioning his biology, asking the coach if maybe his testosterone is dropping.
Even though his doctor recently told him he is the healthiest 60-year-old she has seen in a long time.
Exactly. Which is such a deeply human reaction to trauma and stagnation. When our internal momentum vanishes, we instinctively want a biological excuse or a mystical reason.
Right, we want a doctor to say, oh, here is the pill to fix your drive.
Yeah. But the coach, Scott, he steps in right out of the gate with a brilliant, albeit heavy, dose of reality. He tells Justin point blank, you aren't confused because you don't know what to do. You're confused because you stopped doing the things that created certainty.
That is such a powerful reframe.
But you have to wonder, listening to this, isn't burnout a real biological and psychological factor here? It feels almost entirely dismissive to look at a 60-year-old man who just lost everything, who physically shut down from grief and stress, and bluntly say, well, you just stopped working.
I mean, it sounds harsh on the surface, absolutely. The trauma of losing everything Justin lost is incredibly real and valid. But the coach isn't dismissing the trauma.
He's diagnosing the current paralysis.
Precisely. By shifting Justin's focus away from a lack of passion or some mysterious biological deficit and pointing it directly at a lack of certainty generated through daily action, the coach makes the problem immediately solvable.
He takes it out of the realm of the mystical and puts it back in Justin's control. Like, stop looking under the hood for engine failure when the car just ran out of gas.
Exactly. There's this persistent myth that motivation is like a blanket you wrap around yourself before you step out into the cold, that you have to feel warm before you start moving.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
But the coach is arguing that motivation is actually the body heat you generate by shivering and walking once you are already out there in the elements. Action precedes motivation. You don't wait to feel motivated to do the work.
Doing the work generates the motivation. Justin stopped walking, so he froze.
Right. And you can hear Justin actively tripping over his own psychological hurdles on the call. He admits that during his past peak, when he was closing those 43 homes, his ego was heavily driving him. It was about the money and the status.
Sure.
Now that he's older and he's been through this humbling trial, he wants to do things for a higher purpose.
Right.
He tells the coach he's actively praying to be taken where he needs to go because he is terrified of making a mistake and going down the wrong path for the next 10 years of his life.
He is entirely paralyzed by the desire for perfection. He wants a burning bush to tell him exactly which real estate leads to call. Hold on, though. Wanting a purpose-driven path isn't inherently a bad thing, right?
No, not at all.
But in this case, it sounds like highly sophisticated procrastination. He's weaponizing his own morality and his faith to avoid picking up the phone and doing the unglamorous work.
That is a perfect way to frame it. He is using his desire for a flawless, spiritually aligned path as a shield against daily friction. And the coach spots this immediately. He dismantles Justin's passivity using a series of really sharp parables about the philosophy of action.
Tell me about the parables.
Well, first, he talks about a preacher discussing patience with his congregation. The preacher warns that if you pray to God for patience, you are not handed a magic wand that instantly transforms you into a serene, patient person.
Right.
Instead, you are given opportunities to be patient.
You get stuck behind a tractor on a one-lane road. You get put in a situation where you have to exercise the muscle.
Exactly. You have to do the work. The coach follows that up with a point from the author Rick Warren. People constantly pray to find the right spouse, but they never take the fundamental action of actually going on a date or putting themselves in a social situation to be found.
They want the result without getting in the arena.
Yeah. The coach even throws in the Colonel Sanders reality check, reminding Justin that Colonel Sanders started his entire fried chicken franchise empire from scratch at age 65.
Yeah.
Justin is only 60. He has a 5-year head start.
That's a great reality check.
Yeah.
But it brings up this constant tension you see in so many careers. How do we balance wanting to do deeply meaningful legacy-building work with the sheer gritty necessity of just getting our hands dirty today?
So the coach frames this as the difference between active faith and passive waiting. You can have a massive higher purpose, but you still have to put your boots on the ground and march.
Right.
The coach shares a quote from leadership author John Maxwell to illustrate this. He says, "Do something so big, people look at you and say he couldn't have done this on his own." The crucial takeaway there is that you cannot reach that kind of miraculous, expansive scale if you refuse to step into the arena in the first place. You have to take aggressive action on your side of the equation so that those massive opportunities even have a surface to land on.
Which brings us to the absolute core mantra of this entire 28-minute session. The coach tells Justin, production gives you oxygen, money gives you freedom.
Yes.
Because Justin reveals that his ultimate goal isn't actually to stay in the daily grind of selling houses forever. He wants to exit the day-to-day transactional side, become a business coach, a public speaker, and fund faith-based missions.
But the coach insists that Justin's real estate business has to be the funding vehicle for the next 90 days.
It's the airplane oxygen mask analogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But grounded in basic economics. If you are on an airplane that is losing cabin pressure, you have to secure your own oxygen mask before you can assist the person next to you. Justin desperately wants to coach and help others, but his own financial and operational business is currently suffocating. You quite literally need oxygen in your own lungs before you can speak to a crowd.
And framing his current job as a funding vehicle is a massive psychological unlock. It gives dignity back to the daily grind. Your current unsexy tasks don't have to be your entire identity.
They just have to be the engine that funds your ultimate identity.
Right. But to get that engine running, they have to remove the overwhelming dread of starting from zero at age 60. And they do that by breaking down the math of his momentum.
Let's walk through that math together because it completely changes the scale of the problem. Justin states his goal. He wants to make $250,000.
$250,000.
Right, by the end of the year. They are having this call in late June, so he has exactly 6 months, July through December, to make it happen.
$250,000 in 6 months from a standstill is a terrifying number. It induces that existential dread we talked about. So the coach systematically shrinks the monster. He walks Justin through the exact formula.
Okay, break it down.
If Justin focuses on selling homes priced around $500,000 and calculates a very conservative 2.5% commission per side, that equals $12,500 in gross income per house.
Okay, so to hit the goal of roughly $225,000 to $250,000 in that 6-month window, Justin needs to close 3.5 transactions a month.
Notice what just happened to the scale of the problem. When you take a massive, intimidating annual goal and you reduce it to a hyper-specific monthly quota of helping 3.5 people buy or sell a home, something fundamental shifts in the brain.
It moves you from existential paralysis into tactical execution.
Yeah.
You can't make $250,000 on your daily to-do list,
No, you can't.
but you can build a highly specific daily schedule around finding 3.5 clients a month.
Exactly. The clarity of that math is undeniable. But getting from the math to the actual clients is where the shiny object syndrome rears its ugly head. Justin reveals that he is waiting on this brand new Google AI system from a business partner that promises to deliver 3 to 5 closed leads a month on autopilot.
It sounds like the perfect solution.
Yeah.
But the catch is, it takes 2 to 3 months to fully implement and optimize.
And the coach immediately shuts that down as the primary focus. He warns Justin to treat that future automated system as the icing, not the cake.
Right. They need raw ingredients to put in the oven right now, today. An AI system that might work in October does not generate the oxygen of production in July. They cannot afford to wait 3 months for a magic pill.
But an AI system 3 months out feels safe, doesn't it? It doesn't require rejection today. To breathe today, you have to go back to the manual, unglamorous groundwork.
For Justin, that means pivoting entirely to the unsexy tactics. And they land on a few very specific, highly neglected strategies. First up, short sales and foreclosures.
Yeah, back in his prime, Justin used to run massive town halls educating people on bank-owned properties. The coach confirms these distressed properties are absolutely coming back into the market. He notes he personally went on 6 short sale appointments the previous month in Central Texas.
Wow, 6.
Yeah, and the data shows they are returning in Florida, where Justin operates.
And they discuss a vital legal detail here that fundamentally changes how you view this kind of work. The coach mentions that in states like Michigan, homeowners actually have a 6-month redemption window after a foreclosure is filed to figure things out.
This is where understanding the how and the why is so critical. A lot of people view targeting foreclosures as somewhat predatory, but the coach points out that during that 6-month window, homeowners are often paralyzed by shame.
Yeah, they are hiding from their mail. They are ignoring the bank.
Exactly. This means an educated agent has a half-year runway to step in, negotiate a short sale with the bank, help the owner sell the house, salvage their credit score, and allow them to walk away with some dignity and maybe some equity.
Rather than just waiting for the sheriff to show up with an eviction notice.
Right. It completely reframes the task. You aren't a vulture. You are a lifeline.
That's a huge shift in perspective, which ties directly into their second unsexy tactic: expired listings.
Right.
These are homes that sat on the market with another agent, didn't sell, and the contract expired. The coach points out that 99% of real estate agents will call a fresh expired listing on day 1.
If they get yelled at or don't get the appointment, they quit and never call that homeowner back.
Because humans hate friction and fear rejection. So the coach tells Justin to ignore the fresh, day 1 expired listings entirely. Let the other agents fight over them and burn out. He directs Justin to pull the data for listings that expired 7 to 30 days ago.
And the metrics they discuss on this are absolutely wild.
Okay, lay them out.
It takes 25 cold calls to get a listing appointment with a fresh expired listing, but it only takes 10 calls to get an appointment with a listing that expired 30 days ago.
Wait, really? Only 10?
Because every other agent in the county has already given up.
It's entirely counterintuitive. Human nature tells you to chase the freshest lead because they seem to have the most urgent need. But we forget that every other agent in the state is acting on that exact same instinct.
Yeah.
And the coach adds another layer. If Justin gets out of his chair and actually knocks on their door instead of calling, his conversion rate goes up by another 40%.
What the coach is explaining here is a concept we can call the consistency premium. He shares a story about another agent he coaches up in Washington State who consistently lists 4 to 5 of these expired properties every single month.
Okay.
That Washington agent doesn't have a slicker marketing brochure, and he doesn't have a hypnotic sales script. He simply has a rigid 10-step follow-up process.
So success in this specific arena isn't about being the absolute most charismatic closer in the room.
No, it is entirely about outsurviving your competition's follow-up fatigue. The Washington agent's clients literally tell him, "We hired you because you were the only one who kept calling."
Out surviving follow-up fatigue. I love that.
Ah.
I think that applies to almost every sales or client-based industry on earth.
Absolutely.
So they have the clear math of 3.5 homes a month. They have the unsexy tactics of older expired listings and foreclosures. Now they need to guarantee that Justin actually does the work so they construct this ironclad accountability pact.
And the way they divide the labor between man and machine is brilliant. It is the perfect use of modern technology.
How so?
The coach volunteers to set up an AI agent, like an automated script, to pull the raw pre-foreclosure and tax lien data for Justin's specific counties in Florida every single Monday morning at 8 a.m.
That's awesome.
The automation drops all that fresh, targeted data into a shared Google spreadsheet.
The AI does the scraping, so Justin has zero excuses about not having people to call. But Justin's responsibility is the purely human grind. He has to make 20 contacts every single day.
And they clarify not 20 dials where it rings to voicemail, 20 contacts, 20 actual human-to-human conversations about real estate.
That's tough. And the rules of engagement for this daily quota are incredibly strict. Justin has to log every single interaction into his CRM, his customer relationship management software, so there's an indisputable digital paper trail of his effort.
Yeah.
No guessing, no estimating.
But the real kicker is the daily text message.
Right.
Justin has to send a text to his coach at the end of every single day with his exact contact tally, and the debt rolls over.
The debt rolls over.
Yeah. If Justin has a slow day or gets discouraged and only hits 16 contacts on a Tuesday, he owes 24 contacts on Wednesday to balance the ledger.
Wow. This is where we connect this back to you listening right now.
Oh.
We live in an era where everyone wants to completely automate their success. We want the software to do the heavy lifting.
But automation like that Monday morning AI data pull the coach setup is only genuinely useful if it serves to fuel daily human accountability.
The daily text message to another human being creates an inescapable feedback loop.
Exactly. It prevents a bad afternoon from silently turning into a lost week or a lost month. When you are rebuilding momentum from scratch, the biggest danger isn't a catastrophic failure.
Right. It is the silent, slow fade of inactivity.
Knowing you have to text someone a number at 5 p.m. forces you to act at 2 p.m.
A bad day is just 4 calls you owe tomorrow. It keeps the engine turning over, even at a slow idle, instead of letting the battery die completely again.
Yeah.
And there is a quote from the coach as they finalize this pact that really cements the stakes. He tells Justin, "I commit to showing up for you every single week, as long as you show up for me every single day."
That takes it out of the realm of abstract goals and makes the commitment visceral and immediate.
Justin isn't just letting himself down if he doesn't make the calls. He is breaking a daily promise to someone who is investing in him.
It anchors the entire recovery plan in gritty reality.
So if you are looking at your own career or a project you are completely stalled out on, the core lessons from Justin's raw coaching call are incredibly clear and universally applicable.
First, remember that action creates certainty. You cannot sit at your desk waiting for the warmth of motivation or a perfectly paved path to reveal itself before you start walking. You have to generate the body heat through movement.
Exactly. Second, you must focus on the precise math of your goal. Break the massive, terrifying annual number down into a hyper-specific daily or weekly quota. Doing that removes the emotional overwhelm and replaces it with manageable, tactical execution.
Third, ruthlessly avoid the shiny objects and the magic, automated pills that take months to build. Embrace the unsexy, high-friction consistency of the ground game, because there is a massive premium waiting for whoever is willing to simply outsurvive everyone else's follow-up fatigue.
And finally, anchor yourself with unavoidable daily accountability. Someone else needs to know your daily number.
And perhaps most importantly, realize that the current unglamorous tasks you are struggling to find passion for right now might just be the necessary funding vehicle that provides the oxygen for your ultimate long-term calling.
It is all about putting a charge back into that battery. We want to leave you with a final thought to mull over today, regardless of what industry you are in.
Yeah.
If you were stripped of all your current momentum and you had to rebuild your professional life entirely from scratch, tomorrow morning is the one unsexy foundational daily action you are currently avoiding. That would actually bring the oxygen of production back into your career.
It's the action you already know how to do. The one that seems too basic, too manual, and too full of friction. But it's the exact spark you need.
Stop looking for a profound existential mystery under the hood. Just pick up the phone, knock on the door, and put some gas in the tank.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.